What it do, what it don't, what it will, and what it won't. It is another opportunity to get together and record the experience known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk with this riveting week. I mean, riveting, action packed week of sports. How dare we not get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk where sports, business, and entertainment collide? We're going to bring you something amazing today. We're going to dig into the details of a very public recent indictment, but we're going to relate it to some other things in sports business and entertainment. I promise you don't want to miss this episode. Like we ask you every week, humbly, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the podcast, the Ball Hog Sports Talk. The episode is going by the title of The Better Bettors. And you bet, pun intended, you don't want to miss this one. So fasten your seatbelt. Make sure that you are ready and attentive. Be prepared for rough, rugged, and raw. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. With no further ado, let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Man, we are in the building today, and it has been an amazing week of sports, business, and entertainment. So an amazing week needs to be capped off by an amazing show. And so how dare these two distinguished, handsome gentlemen, if I do say so myself, or at least one and a half of us are handsome, how dare we not bring you?
I'm two. I'm not one and a half. I'm two.
That's why I took my shot first. I was being.
I used to stay on a little too long. I had, it gave me a chance to think about something. But
So he needs no introduction, but how dare I not? He is the man, the myth, the legend. Thou shall be intergalactically known as, respected as. When you say it with reverence. Say it with some bass in your voice. Say it with some respect in your tenor. If not, other consequences you might face. He is from the Middle Coast. The Big Flow Show's in the building. What's up, my brother?
Man, what's good for everybody? I've got to apologize. Life has gotten in the way. Fatherhood has gotten in the way of doing this show. I love these on Fridays. Been traveling like crazy. Couldn't believe it. Just looked up on Friday and I was going to be here. I'm like, we got to get one in. Let's get it in. But it's going to start getting some regularity coming back pretty soon. So I really appreciate all the calls and text messages asking if we're going to be on. I love that people miss not having us on the show because I miss not being on the show. So let's do it.
Indeed, man. I have to echo in that sentiment and also add to it, man. It feels like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a good feeling. I'll just put it that way. It's a very good feeling when people call like, hey, man, what's up with the show, man? Y'all still doing the show? When is the show coming out? So because you guys have asked and because the sports world has allowed us this week to really pour in the sports world in the sense that we don't have a conflict. Big Flow Show is not traveling, being a great sports dad, and allowed us in the sense that there's so much to unpack this week. Let's dive in, man. Let's do what we do. So it would be silly to do anything other than, right, explain briefly why we called it the Better Bettors. We know betting and gambling has taken center stage this week. And I think in the press conference, I think in the indictments, I think in the strategic placement of certain news and certain people in the indictments and those disclosures, there's a way that the approach itself has been sort of betting. And that bet has been that most of us ain't going to do a deep dive into the information. We're not going to dot our I's and cross our T's. We're just going to circulate bad information. And the more salacious the headline, the easier it is to circulate. Fair to say. But on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, we go deeper than that. And so they might have misjudged their bet when it comes to us, because we're going to dive deep into what this week looks like. When the FBI comes knocking, it's just a general rule, no matter who the director is. We're going to talk about James Comey, the former FBI director. We're going to talk about Kash Patel, the current FBI director. But when the FBI comes knocking, just a general rule, they normally have their ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday, minding our business, doing what we do in the Ball Hawk Sports Talk community, taking over the world. I know that's what most of y'all are doing. We get a news break story that comes out where the FBI, current FBI director, Kash Patel, is in a press conference telling us about not one, not two, but three NBA greats, or two former NBA players, one current NBA player, involved in two separate indictments. So that news comes out, and you think what, Big Flo? Because I think you, just like the rest of us, we just living our lives when this news breaks. You think immediately what?
I mean, the first thing that came to mind was release the Epstein files. I mean, that's all I had to go to. Release the Epstein files. That's all I see is distractions. I see people running out in front of the camera. The second thing that came to mind was, I didn't know that the mob was still around. I thought that they Kaiser Soze. I said, we believe that they still, the Genevieve family. I felt like I was watching Goodfellas.
Again, Genevieve, it was some names in there that you're like, wait a minute.
But I kind of believe it, because that Patel guy looked nervous.
He did. Very nervous.
That's you, dog. That's all you. I don't want to get in front of there and start calling out the mob. I did question why no mob names came out, and it was just athlete names came out. But I was initially like,
well, that's the bet, right? The bet is that most of us, while we might know the crime families, I think there are 4 or 5 major crime families.
You let Hollywood tell it, yeah.
It's kind of like accounting. I don't know if we're down to 4 or still 5, whatever. The big accounting firms, or the Power 4 now. We're not the Power 5 conference. It's the same thing with crime families. So the story comes
mergers and stuff. I don't know. We need to check.
I don't think they had any mergers.
I doubt a reverse stock merger. I don't know how does that work.
I don't know with crime families. I'm proud to say I don't know.
I couldn't believe the day started naming crime families. Like, oh my Lord, what is going on? My first impression was, this is some BS. But then I soon started to see there's something here.
Yeah, there's some here. There's definitely some here. And let's get into that here, because you named Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot. You named Damon Jones, who is sort of positioned between the two indictments. And then you have Terry Rozier. All right. And because the FBI does a good job of naming their operations, this operation is called Operation Nothing But Bet. You got to give them an A there in terms of naming the operation. And this is about essentially undisclosed information that was not made public, that was used in prop bets to enhance the probability all the way up to 100% that you would win the bet. All right. So Terry Rozier is at the forefront of this particular indictment. Terry Rozier is currently in Miami Heat and was not playing well. This is supposed to be the year where we got some value out of that trade as a Miami Heat fan.
So he's trying to squeeze what he can before the contract.
He wasn't playing well at all last year. When he did play, he was injury ridden. And Terry Rozier is at the center of this particular indictment. So for those who have not heard yet, Terry Rozier in this Operation Nothing But Bet indictment is essentially charged with disclosing information that was not made public to others in order to increase the probability all the way up to 100% that someone will win their bet. Now, according to this indictment, Terry Rozier disclosed to one of his childhood friends that he was going to do what he needed to do to make sure that the under, which means, let's say there's an over-under on a prop bet, like Terry Rozier is going to score 10 points or Terry Rozier is going to have 3 assists, right? He encouraged his friend, along with others, allegedly, to bet the under. And he then, in that same game, removed himself by way of injury before the end of the game, therefore guaranteeing that the under won the bet. He didn't reach the requisite number of points or didn't reach the requisite number of assists. And there was an uptick of activity in this particular prop bet. So the FBI is doing, and I'm assuming with the complete cooperation of the bookies, they're figuring out volatility. And on a normal day, and this is pre-Miami Heat, but I'll use Miami Heat as an example. On a normal day, you're not worried about too many people taking action on Terry Rozier bets. And so the volatility, now this is back in 2023 is when this allegedly happened. It was on, I think, March 23rd, 2023. He played for 9 minutes and 34 seconds. And it was a scheme to defraud the market. So the under wins, and allegedly, after it's all said and done, when people collect, they go to Terry Rozier's house to divvy up the money. You hear all of this and you think, what, right? And this is on the heels of a great, not a good, a great NBA opening night. Phenomenal. Phenomenal, right? You got Cooper Flag, you got Wemby. Wemby goes for 40 and 15. He's out there looking like a video game player, like someone literally like figured out some special DNA to create this superhuman to play the game of basketball. You got Cooper Flag, the first white player drafted number 1 by the NBA in the NBA draft since 1977. And I mean, all of the ingredients for a very magical opening night come together. They go to the second game, San Antonio does a great job defeating Dallas in the first game. The second game, you've got Golden State goes into a double overtime game. Am I saying that right? It was an overtime game that night. So against the Lakers, I believe, right? Did I say that right? I might have messed it up. Anyway, opening night, and the reason I'm messing it up is because my recent memory is clouded by this indictment. Opening night has a stain on it because the very next morning we have Cash Patel in front of a press conference. Say again?
Our research team said it was the Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets. All right. I think Denver was last night. But either way, my point is that it was overshadowed by the press conference. Press conference is on television. Every channel. Not just ESPN. Not just Fox Sports or any of the traditional sports networks. Every channel. In fact, CNBC, that's dealing with market news, has this story on. Every single channel has this on. What do you think when you get this revelation that now we're in the middle of something that is unique, to say the least?
I mean, again, I only mildly jest when I say the Epstein Files, but I will say Epstein Files. Like, it seems like the timing of it is a very big headline grabber. The fact that they're putting a lot of these cases and lump them together to make it seem like it's more RICO when it comes within the term. Some of these things have no relationship between each other, which I didn't realize even until this morning when you uncovered that some of these things are completely different. It's interesting to have a coach that was involved, but then he's not involved because So if I'm correct to say, Billups
He
is
was an
not.
unofficial. The coach being my bad. Go ahead.
But coaches is his is non-sports related, right? Billups is all from card games, right?
His is from card games, but sports related because he was the what do they call it? The face. What do they call it? They called it something about the face card, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that because of his celebrity, he drew people in. So
But
unrelated to
non-sports related is
sports,
when you first think the first thing you think of is he's doing some sort of point shaving, and he's not. Billups is
absolutely.
not.
Especially because the press conference includes two indictments. One that is entitled Operation Nothing But Bet is squarely
Yeah.
in the face of questioning the integrity of the game.
Do you
But
want to
the
take a
other one,
step?
no.
You want to take a step back and kind of walk through your understanding of it, since you were the one that passed the bar.
My understanding from a legal standpoint is
Just high level, like the three people involved.
yeah, how the three people involved here are you've got Chauncey Billups. This is involved in a different operation we're going to get to called Operation Royal Flush. That's about the illegal um, poker games. These poker games were using a face card. Face card meaning someone to draw the uh,
The
victims.
betters.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they're victims. They draw the victims in, unsuspecting victims. When you get there, there are all type of James Bond 007 gadgets where they're looking infrared and so that's Chauncey Billups. In the middle of those situations, it seems like Damon Jones, who was a former NBA player at the time of one of the alleged incident, he was an unofficial assistant coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't even know what the hell that means. Technically, I think you're an unofficial coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, the way you be
Yeah.
stumping for your boy. Like, what does that mean? An unofficial coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
I mean, that they let you in the locker room and stuff. You can work out in their facilities. And if you buy a courtside seat, you get to sit courtside.
Okay. All right, that's what that
Yeah.
means. But while an unofficial coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, he disclosed to people that they should bet on Milwaukee. This was a February 9th, 2023. I'm sorry, I should say allegedly. Bet on Milwaukee Bucks because he knew that one of the players that they relied on to win would not be playing. Surprisingly, before tip-off, it was disclosed that LeBron James, who LeBron James would not be playing. You can imagine how that would tilt the scale in favor of Milwaukee to win that game. And that's what one of the things is part of his indictment. The last person is Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is the one that is squarely in the face of what is Operation Nothing But Bet, right? That he was giving information that would help people make prop bets on his under because he then withdrew himself from the game. Quintessential insider trading, right? What I do for a living now puts me in position, and it's securities litigation where when there's malfeasance in the markets, when there is a fraud on the market, right? There are class actions that people go sue whoever the bad actor is because of the impact of their bad acts, right? What impact that had on a particular security. So let's call it Nike. Nike's selling for $100 a share, and uh, there are some new details that come out, and this is definitely hypothetical. I'm not saying this about Nike, but there's some new details that come out, and we see that Nike lied on its earnings. And so that stock goes from $100 a share down to $50 a share. With all of the shares that are purchased at Nike, that's a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars, right? That has now been lost by investors because of the malfeasance, bad behavior in the market. This is the same thing, but it's the sports equivalent of it. Does that make sense? Did I describe
It
that?
does, yeah. I just wanted people to understand, because I didn't before the show, that there was some separation between what happened and some of the different things. So it speaks more to, like, what I say about the Epstein files. Is like they're trying to make it more sensational than it is, because honestly, does anyone really care that professional poker players got cheated from Chauncey Billups, and that is that national news that the FBI should be involved in. Let's say that.
It's
No.
also been alleged that some of his friends were involved in the being duped part of it. So that just from
But
a human
really,
instinct
honestly,
standpoint,
though,
that doesn't make you feel
who
good.
cares? Like the fact that people who are playing card games. So we're talking about 20 or 30 victims of people who are professional card
Yeah,
players.
you feel like you should have known. Like you should have like I don't know. You should have did more to protect the integrity of that poker game, or why go play
Nobody
on someone's
cares,
own
though.
turf?
Really, honestly, the fact that people are tipping you off before a bet that LeBron's not going to play for a bet—that's public interest. The fact that Rozier is pulling himself out of a game to point shave, that's public interest because that betting is handled by the masses and it's affected by the masses and it's cheating going on and you wonder what else is going on. Who cares if Chauncey Billups was cheating against not the public? They're saying the people that were getting smacked were professional poker players mainly, right? Who really cares?
Yeah,
Like
$7 million. That's a lot of money, though. I mean, the
if I
size of
stole
the
$7
fraud.
million from you, would the FBI do a press conference?
If you stole $7 million from me,
From you.
never mind. I can't.
Maybe the fact that you tried to shoot my house up and kill my kids, that might be part of it. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's the part of it. That's the lead too. That's the lead story. The lead face of this whole thing. You can't pick up a story without Chauncey Billups doing there. And they always say Chauncey Billups, an NBA Hall of Famer coach, whatever, blah, blah, involved in this sports betting scandal.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Wild World of Sports, or what am I talking about? I'm old as hell. Wild World of Sports. The ESPN puts Texas Hold'em on TV to try to make it a sport, but it's not a sport.
And they put the odds of every game. They betting is now integrated in the fabric of our sports coverage.
But I'm just saying,
you're saying
Chauncey
purely,
Billups, he's the most popular of all the basketball players, so that's why his face is on there, and the fact that he's a coach. But his portion of it was about duping some people out. I mean, it's like the Brett Favre situation with stealing with Mississippi probably got less press than this is getting right now. And they don't talk about Hall of Fame, whatever is in a sports scandal because what they did with the stolen money was build a facility. They don't try to tie the two together. So that part of it is kind of weird. But I guess,
yeah, that's the bet. That's what I'm saying.
That's the bet.
The Better Bettors, right? The bet is that you've got the face of this scandal. And let's call it what it is. Now I got to rip the Band-Aid off. What's up, Love Dog? My man Love Dog in the building. What up, team? He says, should Rutgers fire Shiano? We're going to get at the end, we're going to talk about some of the firings in college. They're not going to fire him. They're going to let him walk off gracefully. And happy belated homecoming to Rutgers football. I digress. I'll get back. But let's rip the Band-Aid off. The bet is, because you're being polite, saying that Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, is the face of this scandal, the face of this indictment, because he's the biggest name. He's a Hall of Famer. As of last year, that's a Hall of Famer that we are talking about here. But let's go further. You got 3 black faces as literally the face of the scandal. You got Kash Patel, who, while we should be thinking that the Justice Department, by way of its agencies, including the FBI, is agnostic to politics, Kash Patel won't let us really believe that. The FBI director has owned his allegiance to this current president. So if we lend at least a little bit of understanding to the politics behind this, the best bet is to put these 3 black men, former NBA players, as the face of the scandal, as the face of the indictments. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that even if Chauncey Billups was the face card that drew in these professional poker players, Chauncey Billups, I don't think, while he has a hell of a damn jump shot and he had a hell of a presence on the basketball court as a floor general, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't have the technical skills to do some of the 007 double agent shit that was necessary to carry out this fraudulent behavior at these poker games. And yet he's the face of this conversation. And so that's the bet that Cash Patel, that's the bet that any and everyone that wanted this story to be mainstream on the heels of a great NBA debut night, that's the bet that they were willing to take. And to be honest, it's why we are talking about it. So I think they won that bet. Now the question is, where do we go from here? Chauncey Billups in the same conversation with at least 4 crime families that I thought were like, I thought that was a thing of the past.
I thought they left when The Sopranos went off the air.
And Chauncey Billups is the face of this damn scandal?
And not one of them has been named. Not one.
They named the families individually, right? So for the insider trading situation, which is Terry Rozier, essentially, Damon Jones, right? I think there are 31 people arrested. Am I saying that right? 31 people. And then the Operation Nothing But Bet, which is Terry Rozier, 6 people. But the freaking poker situation, 31 people. And you know about 1.5. You know about Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones.
I don't know what his major was in school, but I bet it was engineering. I'm just guessing. No stereotypes. So my thing is, he didn't create the X-ray vision and the spy contact lenses and goggles and all that type of shit. I want to hear about those guys.
Yeah.
I want to hear about those people. Those are the people behind it. He was just the face. Like Michael Jordan never really had a restaurant. They just borrowed his name.
The real question that has been asked to me is like, okay, so why is this a problem? And I think this is where I can connect sort of the work in the markets, right? Securities litigation and what we do in our stock market. Like, you know, the efficient market hypothesis is like everyone has the same amount of information at their disposal at the same time. That's what makes markets efficient, right? And we'll just go ahead and share it, man. I think this video is only 1.5 minutes, but I think it'll give you understanding. And bear with me. This is talking about purely the stock market, and this is talking about insider trading. But Terry Rozier, right? If he tells people, "Hey, man, bet the under," I've got some inside information. It don't get more inside than that he's gonna get himself out the game. Or Damon Jones, who's accused of February 9th, 2023, is accused of telling people that they should bet on Milwaukee because he was an unofficial assistant coach of the LA Lakers. And in that capacity, despite it being unofficial, he was made privy to the fact that LeBron was not going to play before anybody else was made privy to that information. That's insider trading. And so let's click on this and we'll get into this minute and a half. It'll give us an understanding of why this is a thing.
While often associated with illegal activity, insider trading actually encompasses both illegal and legal trading of securities and is monitored by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Illegal insider trading occurs when a person uses material, non-public information to make a decision about buying or selling a security. The SEC has prosecuted insider trading cases against officers, directors, and employees of involved corporations, as well as people who are considered tippees, such as friends of the corporation's managers. They have also prosecuted lawyers, accountants, government regulatory bureaucrats, and even printing company employees who had access to public offering documents before they were issued to the public. The SEC defines legal insider trading as corporate insiders, officers, directors, and employees trading securities issued by their own company. When a corporate insider buys or sells his company's securities, this trading activity must be reported to the SEC, which then discloses this information to the public. Even though the trading is disclosed, corporate insiders can only trade their corporation's securities during certain windows of time when there is no material, non-public information that might affect a buyer or seller's trading decision. Insider trading can undermine the integrity of the financial markets. By aggressively monitoring it, the SEC helps maintain confidence that the markets operate fairly for all participants.
All right. The reason I share that is simple and plain.
Testing starts in development. I mean,
All right.
the
I
ROI
share that because
projection
I
of
think
over
it'll
And you're
give you
still playing the
insight as to
commercial.
why. Say that again.
You got the commercial on the screen. So.
Do I?
Yeah.
I had stopped sharing. My bad. Give me 2 seconds. The reason I share that is, as I find this, the reason I share that, is it done now?
Yeah, but we're not. My beautiful face is not on there.
Your beautiful face?
That's gonna make
Where's
people.
your beautiful?
That's gonna make people log out.
I just need you to have a beautiful face
I got you.
for said information to be true. Give me 2 seconds.
That's what we want. That's what we want.
There we go. Are we back?
Yeah, I fixed it.
All right. The reason I share that is because I think it's important to understand that the insider trading and what the SEC is doing to make sure that people have confidence in the markets is equivalent to what the NBA and its Committee on Integrity, what the commissioner of each one of the sports, and now by an extension, the FBI is trying to make sure that we have confidence that there is integrity in the game itself. So this multi-billion and closely approaching probably $1 trillion industry that is legal sports gambling maintains its solid footing to stand on. And so when Terry Rozier is tipping off to his friend that he suggests that he bets the under and then takes the next step and leaves the game because of air quote injury, and then takes the final step, which is, if true, the nail in his coffin, has people meet at his house to divvy up the money. That's insider trading. When Damon Jones has information that is not public, that LeBron James is not going to play, and when the disclosure happened before tip-off, everyone was surprised. I remember that game just because there were a lot of people that flew in internationally to watch LeBron play, and there was this whole uproar. Hey, I came to see LeBron, and he's not playing tonight, right? So that's insider trading. While I understand the need to protect the integrity and the sanctity of the game, I don't understand why they're the only faces of this particular story. And that's where we are with it. I'll give you final word on it, and we'll talk about Operation Flush because it does read like a freaking James Bond movie with spy glasses, with infrared designations on cards, with cameras under the freaking table. Like, that's James Bond. But I think that's where trying to give credit where credit is due, I think that's why the emphasis is so powerful on this particular indictment. Because if not, then the whole idea of transitioning into so many states and being able to do it online, legal gambling, it's gonna scare some people away.
You know, you mentioned this when we kind of in our little pregame about the, what's worse. And I kind of look at it a different way. I feel like the more you make gambling legal, the less likely you are to have with the cheating. And hear me out on this. Before, you just had to go to Vegas, or you had to go, you'd have a friend going to Vegas. You'd be like, hey, man, put this bet in for me at Vegas. When you get out there, get your little ticket and then mail your money. It was a pain in the ass, right? And, because you didn't really want to deal with the bookies. And so then, but people had the local bookies. Well, bookies are, by definition, criminals, right? And when you start dealing with criminals, you start dealing with people involved, and you get people saying, let me try to get
by definition, they're criminals.
If you're a bookie, it's illegal to bookmake, so you're a criminal, right? Yeah, so, but when you have that going, then you have people who are criminals that are in touch with people who are betting, and they can get to the right people and start to do it. So you have athletes who are putting in bets with these said bookies who can be manipulated and done wrong. Where now that it's legal, you can have somebody who's not really involved, just like Oshani. You could just have your manager put the bets in for you and just take the blame if something goes wrong and you're fine. Right. But he's not a mafia guy, right?
Right.
So I just think by making sports betting legal, you cut out the bookmakers, right? So why do I need to go to a bookie if I can just go online and
If I could do it myself.
do it myself? And now that I take the bookie out of it, he doesn't have contact with me, and so now it's the nefarious acts. It's not like the bookie, those people. I mean, not to say that it's impossible, but they're making so many millions and billions of dollars. I don't see those people calling and trying to get people to point shave. So I think it should have lessened it. And what scares me though is as there's still going to be a racket out there for people that want to do it, and it could be way worse than we think. I mean, we saw. I don't want to perpetuate things that I haven't researched, but I did see a video going on with Steph Curry and a couple guys on the bench, and they were looking around and they were up by 9. At the end, the guy misses a free throw or something like that. They're taking the ball out and they're like covering their mouths. They're talking to each other. They seem concerned. Someone may have mouthed said, just as long as he doesn't hit a three, a guy comes down and hits a three at the buzzer. And you see Steph Curry and 2 other guys going crazy on the bench. Like, you still want to
doesn't that come with the information age? Every game discloses
the spread,
all of the respective parameters of traditional betting. The spread, the over, under. They even disclose prop betting. So I'm not necessarily willing to say that exchange that was probably captured, that is not something that Steph Curry and those involved are proud of, but I'm not willing to say that means they're automatically gambling. I think
I don't want to do that either, especially because Steph Curry's too light skinned, but I don't want to like put in the that's it out loud. No, I don't.
One time for the light skin. Okay, I feel it.
But I don't want to say that. Now, let me go on record and say is I think it should be legal that athletes can bet on themselves to succeed. I don't see any problem with that. There was a long time ago.
I think Terry Rozier puts that in question.
No,
because the way you're saying
you can't bet the under. You have to bet the over. I believe
you
should be able to bet on the over and be public about it. I'm betting the over. The reason
but even that, right? Like, let's say you've been on a bum ankle and you went and got some amazing treatment from this amazing doctor, so your ankle is better. You have more information than the general public.
And I guess it also, if you do bet the over, because first, I didn't think this through because I was like, okay, you got to bet the over, you got to make it public. But then I was saying, well, then what are you saying when you don't bet the over? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't bet it, if you don't bet everything,
right? Or if I bet the over, it'd be very easy for me as a wing to go talk to my point guard, like, yo, bro, I bet the over. Get me the cheese.
It's
right?
tough, but I think where I got that from was there was a boxer. What was the guy used to have the thing with the X on his face? His teeth looked like he needed a dentist to be in his family.
He had an X on his face.
He used to wear the X mask.
Oh, the executioner.
Yeah,
Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
Bernard Hopkins got that where he had that ink on his back, that betting site. Remember when he came out that fight?
I do remember that.
And they paid him $1 million to wear it, and he said, "Nah, just take that $1 million and bet. I'm going to bet on me to win the fight."
Yeah.
What was wrong with? What's the difference?
I guess, yeah, but it's just I don't know. You have a lot more control over it as a boxer. I get your point.
No, that's even worse. I mean, it's just on you. If you're betting, maybe you shouldn't be able to bet on your prop bet because then you could take too many shots and do something stupid. But if you could bet on your team to cover, I think that should be allowed. I guess it's easier just to make it illegal. But
are we, and I'll wrap it up because I guess this conversation, while nuanced and layered, we're thinking about it in a way that is forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, are we just opening Pandora's box here? Well, Cash Patel and Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, Big Shot Billups, while they are the source of the conversation right now, are we opening Pandora's box? Because sports betting is here to stay. And now, on the heels of the new regulatory decision that college players can indeed also participate in legalized sports betting, are we just opening Pandora's box? Because
Yeah.
Charles Barkley tried to sort of say rhetorically, like, you making $9 million. How much more can you make? $9 million more. How about that?
It's
Or
the
more.
thrill.
Like
People bet.
that rhetorical
Most people
question
don't
is
bet for
silly.
the income; they bet for the thrill of winning and being excited. Now, here's one thing
I'm
I
sorry,
will say.
Shaq said it. I might have attributed that to Charles Barkley. My bad. Shaq. But on that
Shaq's
stage,
money so long. Shaq's
say
money so
again.
long. His money's so long. What would you?
So right, he owns everything. But to ask that rhetorical question, how much more money can you make? I could double what I'm making. And that means I got double the life, double the enjoyment, double the opportunities, double the trips, double the. What do we like?
I think people who say that don't bet. I don't think most bettors bet as a source of income. They bet for the thrill of winning. You know what I mean? Like,
which is why I say that conversation on the sideline between Steph Curry and team could be more about the thrill of not winning because they didn't necessarily bet on it, but you can win without.
So there's
getting
some
money.
things in there that you got to look at. They're covering their mouths, right, on what they're saying, and they're trying to be slick and they're doing whatever. And it could be something small, and their bet could be $50. It doesn't know what it is. The fact of the matter is,
right? It could be push-ups.
It could be push-ups,
right?
which I think I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, bet somebody 100 push-ups 10 at a time whenever you call for them. That's the best bet I've ever had. Me and my brother-in-law used to bet like that against Notre Dame, Purdue. 100 push-ups, 10 at a time whenever I want. In the middle of a party, drop it, give me 10. It's the best. It's better than money. It's better than the little $100 it could have given me to watch this man.
It's like I'm in control of this.
Put his drink down and give me 10 push-ups in the middle of a party. Fantastic. So anyway,
I do like that.
That's a great bet. And I was equally as happy as well. More happy than the money that he could have.
Hey, you were one of the better bettors, my man.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I do think that we kind of brushed over some of this stuff here, and I want to kind of back up. When you just said, ironically, at the time where they just caught up, some people were involved in this are saying that college people can bet on pro games. And I Googled it, and it says pro people can't really bet on college games. They're not supposed to bet on sports at all. And I start to think of it because I always think there's a conspiracy and a deeper thing to it. I find it ironic that now that they're paying these dudes to play in college, that now they're allowing them to go out here and make these bets in the pros.
Oh, they want some of that money back.
They want their money back.
My man MJ Mount Johnson in the building. I like that, man. One of our live audience members says, for those who are listening to audio and cannot see the screen, his response is, the biggest issue I see is that competitors view sports as competition, but many gamblers view sports as entertainment. And it sounds as you're describing it, like your gambling hat on, because you are both, right? As a gambler, you're on the entertainment side. As you're describing it, right? You're doing it for the thrill of the entertainment, not necessarily as a way of income.
Mm-hmm.
But as a former athlete, you got to appreciate, like, there's a competitive nature to this. And I think you sort of, you were able to weave that into your response of, you should be able to bet the over on yourself. That in itself is saying, I'm a competitor's competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But they're kind of at odds with one another. Right? Because if that's what you do, great. But your impact on the market or impact on the betting market there is real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. And that's where the Terry Rozier problem occurs, right? It's that in isolation, I don't think that's a big deal to tell your friend, not Terry Rozier, I'm sorry, the Damon Jones thing, to tell your friend, hey, man, if I was you, I would bet on Milwaukee because he knows that LeBron's not going to play. Truth be told, it's not like he self-sabotaged the Lakers as an unofficial assistant coach. Ain't nobody listening to him as an unofficial assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make all the other players play poorly. He didn't give Milwaukee Bucks some steroid concoction to make them play better and make their jump shots go in. He just talked about the odds being probably in their favor because of this information that wasn't public yet. But in doing so, the people who were doing it for entertainment are now at a disadvantage. And it's unfair. That's the insider trading part of it.
Yeah. And it's safest because trying to keep up with this rule and that rule, it's safest just to ban everybody from betting and kill them when they do. You know what I mean? because the temptation is there. You know what I mean?
You think it's gonna get worse? Mustafa, what's up, my brother? He covers a lot of the local sports from the media angle. But when it comes to the betting angle, is this gonna get worse? I believe we're opening Pandora's box here. Mustafa says it's only gonna get crazier. Your assessment. And please chime in for those who are watching live. We enjoy your comments and we'll definitely analyze it as it pertains to the particular topics. But is this the beginning of Pandora's box being opened? The FBI had the wherewithal to conduct this particular investigation. Think of all the players that aren't being investigated yet.
And the referees. You see nowadays it's a shame because the way the internet works is I've seen all these other stories that haven't got legs that are probably fake, but they're talking about. I saw some story about a ref saying that he manipulated games for 20 years, but I feel like it's fake stories that come out. But at the end of the day,
and I think it's harder because you're in a crew, and unless the referee group, that crew itself is a crime family, which maybe we're going to get there too, the zebra family of all referees, right? You're only one of several people in a referee crew. And so it's hard for you to completely control the game. But you can control a moment as a referee. You can certainly control a crucial moment.
Look, the bookmakers are damn close. Notre Dame was 10.5-point favorite to USC, and they won by 10. Somebody asked me before the game, and I said, this is a rivalry. I'm going to go. I would take USC for that. I would never personally bet against Notre Dame, but I'll take USC in this game because 10.5 seemed like a little bit much. It was off by half a point. How hard is it? The football is probably
and they mentioned it on the telecast.
Yeah, but for a basketball ref to affect the game by 2 points is simple.
But my point is, even in the Notre Dame USC game, I got my Notre Dame hat because Notre Dame USC was this week. We beat our rivals, so I got to wear the hat. But even in that game, that was an NBC covered game. And when Notre Dame settled for 3 or it was a turnover or something, when we realized, we being the audience, had to accept that it was not probably going to exceed 10 points, there was a mention of that by the color commentator. Right? Like, that's how integrated in the fabric of sport this whole gambling thing is. And so while Cash Patel and the FBI team from Operation Royal Flush or Operation Nothing But Bets sits up there and pats themselves on the back, truth be told, when I hear it, I'm like, yo, this is the beginning of the end when it comes to the sanctity and the purity and the integrity of the sport. It just is. Because it's everywhere. I didn't know that the spread was 10.5 until I was watching the game. And they said something, it's not even cryptic anymore. It was something to the degree of, there's going to be a lot of people not happy about that.
I mean, ESPN does my favorite thing on ESPN is bad beats. Like, they do that late at night, talk about the bets. They got bad beats at the end of whatever. It's the most entertaining thing going on. Betting it's so mainstream. As Malcolm said, Elf in the Room is the craziest debate. Is the biggest partners with the pro college sports now are these gaming sites. I mean, they want you to gamble. They want you to do it. That's more reason why they have the FBI. I'm not going to give any credit to the Trump administration, but the FBI has to show that they're cracking down on it, because when people lose confidence in it, they're just going to stop betting. It's
this generation's version of our credit cards. When we got to the college campus, they gave you a free shirt in order to get a credit card, and then you went and bought your stereo, right? At the risk of sounding real old. You bought your multi-CD player stereo with the big speakers, and you paid for it for the next 25 years. Mm-hmm. While we have cracked down on credit card companies and the disclosures that they have to make, and there's some regulatory oversight there. This generation's version of our credit cards, when we step foot on campus, is gambling. Mm-hmm. You go on the app, you open your site, their version of it is gambling. And then there's just very little oversight. The younger you are, the more money that you have, the more mistakes that you're gonna really make. And luckily, the more time you have to recover from those mistakes. But when you enter into the room, into the chat, this thing called a freaking crime family, they're talking about crime families enforcing these debts in traditional crime family ways.
That's what I've never heard of.
Right?
They still running books too? Why would you go to a guy who can whoop you when you could go to somebody? I guess you could owe him. But why would you go to a guy who can whoop you, then you just go online and check
Hey, it's the rush, man. It's the rush, baby. It's the rush. It's the feeling
the
of
juice.
it.
You already got it's the same juice.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, sometimes the juice is better at the casinos. It's not 10% all the time. Sometimes it's only 1.4 or 1.5. Come on, man.
Hey,
if you want to
know better than I do, man.
And now you're on the news.
1997, I lost all my money on that casino boat. I haven't gambled yet since that day. I like that question. Malcolm asked, how can we not expect athletes, coaches, and execs to not get involved with gaming the same way they've gotten involved with media? And that's the reality of this. The reason why poker attracts someone like Big Shot Billups is because of the reality that Malcolm, I think you laid it out when he's talked about competitors being competitive. Our juices flow, right? Like that's our version of it. There's a reason why so many players, former players, present company excluded, transition to golf because there's 18 holes of competing. There's 18 holes of gambling as a way of competition that just adds a little extra to that competitiveness, right? And so the people that are most prone and most wired for competitiveness put into a space where you have gaming. Duh. And I know you think that the regulatory oversight will allow it to be done the right way. I just don't see how.
No, I don't want to say that that's the case, that the oversight, but you have to show that you give a damn and that they're going to care to keep public confidence, high as it can be. There's still going to be people who say it's rigged. I'm not doing the sports betting, or like yourself, you just don't want to bet. It's just not worth it to you. It's not interesting to you. So I get it. But there's people like, okay, I can't keep betting. I used to bet sports betting until the year must have been 98, 99, something like that. And Khalid El-Amin was playing for UConn. The spread was 7.5 points. They're playing against Georgetown. And with
the fact that you can rip that off that cleanly means that it really hit you.
It hurt.
Core.
It hurt and it changed.
El-Amin, I haven't heard that name since
he hasn't heard that
name.
I think he goes by George now. But like back then, it was Khalid El-Amin. He was driving. It was like this. Only thing I don't remember is how much time was on the clock. Call it 7 seconds on the clock, and they were up by 7.5 or something. The spread was 8. He's driving down the court. I'm thinking he's going to go up, shoot, get fouled, make his free throws, and then they're going to go back and forth. I'm good. This man dribbles down the court, and he catches a cramp in his hamstring. I've never seen it before or since. Dribbles to the side, calls timeout. They get the ball. They dribble the clock out, and I lose. And ever since then, I said, this is rigged. How the hell you get a cramp? I've never seen it before.
But yet you still gamble. That means you just got the endorphins, man. You like risk.
I'll do a little bit of we were doing a little segment on when we had Cheeky Black on here, and he was giving us our bets, but he started losing, so I didn't want to lose viewers because his bets was costing me money. But I like to do parlays because if I bet $100 and I win $100, I don't care. If I bet $100, I lose $100, I'm pissed off. So the risk reward wasn't there for me. But if I bet $25 or $50 on a parlay, and if I win, I hit and I win $700 or $800, the risk reward is there. Like, you know what I mean? If I lose 50, okay, I'm sick, a little bit mad, but then the $700, $800, I'm happy as hell. So like that's about right for me. So I'm a parlay guy. For those who care.
I'll let's move on, but we'll come back full circle. The entire episode is going by the Better Bettors, and we have, by way of Cash Patel, standing up there just as proud as a peacock, talking about how they, with a little bit of trepidation in his voice, I will agree, but talking about how this crackdown and this investigation has lent itself to these indictments, right? We saw a level of politicization in that story. And then this next story takes the cake. Tish James, the New York Attorney General, in this episode of Better Better, Tish James was very public about going after Donald Trump for his crimes in the state of New York. Well, now Tish James has been indicted. I think they called it money fraud. I don't even know what they called it. It's bank fraud charges in Norfolk, Virginia, for a house that she bought for peanuts. And a total over the life of the loan, if indeed she's found to have done something wrong, it's like $18,000 we're talking about. $18,000, right? Peanuts. And yet she's going before the court today. And the politicization of this whole thing, I think we're all betting on.
Well, did she get a lower rate because of her position?
Yeah, I think it was like she didn't disclose. I think she said it's going to be her primary residence. And at the risk of bringing scrutiny on myself, I would say something like something that everyone does, but not me.
I've never heard of it.
Everyone, I've never heard of that. But $18,000, to the tune of $18,000, a sitting attorney general for the state of New York, who has been the face of advocacy when it comes to being an AG. She's probably the most popular attorney general in the entire United States of America. But because of the politicization of this whole thing, this is a black woman who is a staunch detractor of the Trump administration, who has to go before court today. And so when we're looking at all of it, man, it makes sense that the FBI would be front and center, literally rolling out these three black men, and Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, and Big Shot Billups, as the face of a criminal ring that they don't have the wherewithal to lead. Right? No disrespect. But if they're in the same conversation with four crime families, they're not the main event. Why are they the face of the story? Same thing with Tish James. The Better Bettors.
But don't we tell our athletic children that exactly? When I tell my son when he was in high school, the reason why I don't want you to drink or smoke anything in high school, obviously, there's obvious reasons why I don't want you to drink or smoke when it's illegal. I said, but when you put alcohol to your lips in high school, all the camera phones are coming out. If that party gets busted up and 50 kids get busted, and they say who was there, the first name they're going to say is yours, right?
Fair.
The first name. So we can be mad if we want to.
So is that the risk, right? So what you're saying is qualify your risk, and that is a subjective qualification. That is not objective. You have to subjectively qualify your risk. That's basically what you're saying.
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna let any of these dudes call themselves victims. When you tell me Chauncey Billups is a Hall of Fame basketball player, an NBA coach, and he's cheating in a card game, you deserve the embarrassment, and you're not going to get my support if proven guilty and say that you got. Why weren't they showing the Genevieve family in front? Because they know better. The Genevieve family might show up at your house. Chauncey Billups, you ain't gonna do shit, right? And so, Rozier, if you are saying that you didn't play,
you saying that's why Cash Patel had that little.
So Cash Patel wasn't nervous because he was talking on Chauncey or Rozier. That's not what had him stressed out.
He said that part with bass in his voice.
Yeah, but when he had to make the crime family, he started stuttering and sweating. But if you decided you wanted to get in somehow through your NBA career with guaranteed contracts and all this money, not even being that much of a household name, although they're saying that Rick Pitino is a link to all of them. So Rick Pitino has a link to all of them. He coached all of them. So they're saying that. But besides that, you're not even a household name, and you had tens of millions of dollars in the bank, and you want to work on a bet that you're dropping up money because you want to say you got hurt early. I'm not gonna support that. Why are you the face of this? You're not the big, because you're a doofus. That's why. Because you're a doofus. That's why you're the face of this. And you should have known you'd be the face of this. So you're a doofus if you did that. and you're guilty, and you're not going to get me to support you and stand on anybody's soapbox and say you're a black man and why are you the face? Because you are. That's why you're the face of it. Because
and look,
and your daddy told you that you would have been the face in high school, like I told my son. He told you to, and you still did that stupid
and
shit.
now Tish James, one of maybe 4 black attorneys general in the United States right now, is the face of like the agenda. It is what it is, man. Right?
But even her, if you going after Donald Trump, and you know on whatever you went after, and I don't like Donald Trump, I like seeing him ruffled and whatever, but you know he's the most vindictive man out there. You know you're doing this, and you said that your primary residence wasn't your primary residence to save a little bit of interest.
What they said that she falsified bank statements to receive more favorable loan terms is what the charge essentially.
And you are the attorney general. Shame on you. I want to back you up, but shame on you. You know what I'm saying?
I want to say that too, man. But to get more favorable loan terms,
shame on you. You make good money, attorney general. We all know everybody in politics.
Pay the higher rate. Pay the higher rate.
Pay the higher rate. 18,000. You can say you can in one tone of voice you can say she's getting prosecuted over $18,000. In another tone of voice, say you risk all that shit for $18,000.
Fair.
Fuck is you doing,
Touché.
man? You are. Your chin was. You should have thought about that when you indicted Trump. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, man.
I can't indict this man. I know I ain't really come full transparency when it came to them loan docs.
Them loan docs. If that loan doc wasn't sitting on your shoulder when you're doing something like that, you put yourself out there. You can't do it. So hey, it's too bad. And I'm. So
you're saying as a bettor, she's not a better bettor.
She's not a better bettor.
That's a bad.
Don't bet with her. When I look at her, I'll take your action. If she tells me places bet, no, I'll just take your action because I know that you don't bet right.
Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is in the news because he is on a podcast tour getting some stuff off his chest. And I think in doing so, what he has just come to the conclusion of, and he's going on traditionally, from an audience standpoint, right? Mainstream black podcast. You got Carmelo Anthony's podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. He went on he didn't go on there, but they mentioned it also on Club 520, which is Jeff Teague's podcast. Jeff Teague called out LeBron. It's like, you talk about LeBron, it's like, oh man, you funny, but you'll get a call like, hey, yo, right? Nah, we ain't doing that. So Stephen A. Smith, if that's the case, if Jeff Teague is right, something as simple as an off-color joke about LeBron James warrants a call from, according to Jeff Teague, some higher ups. And he didn't say any names. He didn't talk about the higher ups being associated with the NBA or associated with media, associated with Clutch. He didn't say any of those things. He just said some really high profile people calling his phone, essentially like, yo. Nah, off limits. You don't talk about LeBron like that. If that's true, then Stephen A. Smith doubling down and wagering an even bigger bet, calling out LeBron, calling out others. And truth be told, because this was in response to the public response of his interaction with Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman, Stephen A. is also making the bet, black folk, you can't do nothing to me. I don't care if you disown me. Stephen A. was saying with his chest this week on any platform that will let him say it. Do you think that this is the right bet for Stephen A. to make? Although he apologized. He did apologize to Jasmine Crockett after a lot of back and forth. He did apologize. But even in his apology, it was kind of like advising her and others, be careful about taking on Donald J. Trump. But do you think Stephen A. is making the right bet with his public persona as the villain? Because his villain is different than my villain. I'm a villain here trying to figure it out. We're going to monetize it, and Ballhawk Sports Talk is going to take off soon in the future. Stephen A. is the villain with a bunch of zeros already guaranteed and the face of ESPN with all the power from ESPN right now. Do you like his bet?
I think he's going through some things. he got his body right, working with with what's the health guy that's been getting everybody right.
I don't know who Steve A's working with. I don't know. I'm
Steve
sorry.
A. Smith works with the dude. I actually messed with that guy. The guy that tells you about all your methylation tests and all that kind of stuff. Somebody,
I don't know who it is.
whatever it is. He got his body right. He's rumored to be engaged to I think Molly. Supposedly that could be false, but I think he's trying to find himself. I mean, he's doing a lot of conservative political shows. I've had a lot of people who've never heard of him sports wise said, I like this guy, because everybody's got to tell you that they like the black guy and do whatever. So I think Stephen A's realized that like who he wanted to be and who he wanted to rock with doesn't rock with him. Right.
Right.
He tried to be part of hip hop nation, try to be part of mainstream black culture, try to be part of whatever. And we don't really like him, man. But who likes him are the haters, Jason Whitlock went too far, and so he lost everybody. But he kind of, was trying to he's trying to catch that little crowd. At this point, man, in entertainment, people are chasing what they can find. Whatever segment of society they can get, they're chasing it. So Stephen A. Smith is supposedly the biggest name in sports. I think, what's his name? Probably is can threaten him on that. What's the white dude, the punter?
Oh, Pat McAfee.
I think Pat McAfee could probably argue that he is now, but Stephen A. is up there in the top 2 to 3 in the sports thing. And I think.
Well, I think Stephen A. also waged a bet because in sort of separating himself from the in crowd when it comes to black Twitter, to simplify it, to make it easy, but black pop culture, mainstream black sentiment. By doing that, he did sort of ingratiate himself in a community that is probably overwhelmingly supportive of Pat McAfee. Fair?
Yeah, you're right. Pat McAfee definitely speaks to a different segment. I mess with Pat McAfee, but he definitely doesn't. I'm not who he's trying to get in. Let's just be honest. I'm not the reason why he's popular, right?
You're not light-skinned enough.
I'm not light-skinned enough, right? I don't use enough sunscreen. And nothing wrong with that. Everybody has to have their little market. Doesn't have to be mine.
Yeah, everybody has to have their market.
So nothing against Pat. I mess with Pat McAfee.
And let's be fair. All right. But there are probably a lot of people who are a bit jealous, makes it sound vindictive, but a little uneasy about Pat McAfee's ascension in the ESPN hierarchy. Right? Even you saying that, the old punter, that sounds wild. When have we ever given punters a space in media? Now, I do think he does a good job stirring up the pot for his audience. I think he does a great job owning the Bud Light community and saying, this is who I am. The man comes out in a freaking t-shirt like some NASCAR Indy 500 look, and he's on camera. Like, so
he's changed up a little bit though.
He started to.
He stopped wearing tank tops from what I've seen. I haven't seen him in a tank top in a while. He's cleaning up a little bit. I haven't been on there where they've had to bleep him for a while, but he was, for a while he was out there and cussing and doing whatever he wants. This is kind of a side, but I find it interesting now that you're seeing more and more people that are in public figures that speak on podcasts in a way that they couldn't speak on the air. And I always thought that their personas carried 24 hours a day. But it seems
Stephen A is using profanity on these podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to LeBron,
say whatever the hell he wants to say.
And I quote, when it comes to LeBron, the topic of LeBron, Stephen A. Smith says, I don't like his ass at all. And so, do you think he wins that bet? Because that's a hell of a bet. That's a hell of a bet that Stephen A is making. And it has proven, at least in the political ranks, right? Because there's the politics that has been thrown into sports, and then there's the sport of politics. At least when it comes to political ranks, it's proven unreliable, right? Tim Scott had a ceiling in politics that I don't think he'll ever get past that ceiling. You
Mm-hmm.
go down the list of later. We talked about attorneys general, right? You had Daniel Cameron in Kentucky, who ended up running unsuccessfully for governor of Kentucky to unseat Bashir, right? There's just been a Candace Owens seems to have a rebirth with some of her ideologies. It's just been a sort of, does Stephen A. and his new approach, is this a good bet for him? Jason Whitlock
if
is a
your goal
laughing
is to
stock.
keep it 100, if your goal, let me say this, if your goal is to be revered by your own, if your goal is to be, that kind of guy, then I don't think he's in the right direction. If your goal is to make money and gain popularity, I think Stephen A. Smith is doing a great job.
Fair. Very
I didn't
fair.
like him before, so he's not going to do nothing to make me like him now. So I think you got to go. I mean, look at Candace Owens, right? I don't like Candace Owens. I'm going to put that out there. I'm not a fan. But Candace Owens started off as a Donald Trump hater, and she had a website with her husband. Nobody cared. Then her and her husband came out as this power couple and said, we're going to be conservatives. People started listening. She ditched his ass. I can't remember what he looks like. And then she decided, I'm going to start doing I'll be the blackface on any conservative show that wants a blackface to talk bad about black people. Boom. She came out there and she became popular. Then she got popular enough to actually start talking about some of her opinions that weren't completely popular because she has enough of a voice now to do whatever. I don't like Candace Owens at all, but she's figured it out. She's making money out of nowhere. She came out of no place, and she's doing what she wants to go do. Her goal is not to be invited to my barbecue.
But Stephen A's already made it.
Huh?
Stephen A's already made it. He's eclipsed.
He's already made it, but he's moving with he's moving. Again, he's looking. People talking about they want him to run for president. I've heard people tell me they want him to run for president. Like Stephen A. he's moving up. He's ascending. You know what I mean? Like we talked about before, how much is enough money? It's not enough money. It's not enough to do what you got to go do. He's keeping. He's moving. He's saying if you're not moving, you're dying. He's moving. I don't like him. I didn't like him before, so he shouldn't do he shouldn't try to get my approval. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm beyond. But
is that what you think he did? Like, essentially, he has put his cards on the table, to stick with the betting analogy. Right. He's all in on the reality that I've lost the community that was rocking with me, the Black community that sort of culturally was on board with, here is a Black man in the power seat at ESPN saying what he wants to say in ways that I thought still connected him to our community.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you could tell he was culturally aware. He went to a HBCU. He celebrated the proliferation of HBCU on the big stage when it came to, not to say that this was the only thing that signifies it, but when it came to Coach Prime and, freaking game day was at an HBCU game, and Stephen A. Smith was in the center of it. So at one point he was down. That community is kind of that community in which I would probably put myself in that category. We at best we're tepid when it comes to Stephen A. now. So Stephen A. just basically saying, look, I don't need y'all no more. I'm gone. My bet is to be more universal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play to the middle or to the right and take a very political strategy to his new persona. I'm just shocked that he is so vocal about his animosity with LeBron.
I think he's trying to go for the Howard Cosell, even though that was fake, but the Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali. LeBron is on top. He's the man. He keeps coming out. He keeps going after LeBron. He keeps saying all these different things and starting a war. He's making himself, it's like battle rapping, man. You know what I mean? Like usually the battle raps, one of the guys has no business being responded to. I shouldn't say usually, but a lot of times you go in there and one dude is gaining fame off the other dude's name. By him constantly going after LeBron and doing whatever, that's whatever. Being a LeBron lover, which I have been accused of many times in the past, doesn't get you popularity. Nobody wants to talk to you. But if you want to hate on LeBron, man, they want you. Hey, listen, what you got to say about LeBron? Hate on him. Come on, what you got? So haters gonna hate.
And you meant lover in a platonic fashion, man. That's how you get.
I said I've been accused of it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't claim it.
Man. Yeah.
No, did he? I didn't claim nothing.
Lover is a strong word, bro.
I don't even use the word.
Let's go home with what is the bright side of the NBA. It's been a great week for the NBA rollout. The Warriors last night were able to beat the Nuggets in overtime. And while the story of the game should have been Aaron Gordon scoring 50 points, which, what? Aaron Gordon? While I knew he was an amazing dunker and a great role player, Aaron Gordon, and you look at his percentages has gone up drastically, man. This game is getting crazy where the front court and their proficiency from beyond the arc, behind the three-point line, is increasing every year. Aaron Gordon scoring 50 points is a big story. But not so fast, my friend. A man by the name of Steph Curry.
The chef.
Steph Curry was cooking last night, man. 42 points, the one that took him to overtime, the tying score with about 21 seconds left, ultimately ended up being the score that took them into overtime off of a screen, no space whatsoever to make a shot, man. That dude's amazing. Steph Curry's amazing. The NBA's got to be happy. What you would think. I mean, just basking in glory before, the FBI and your man, Cash Patel, gets in front of that microphone. The NBA had to be happy. But great game last night.
Nobody was happier than the people on the Epstein files.
The Wemby performance on opening night against Dallas, 40 and 15. Bruh. Pretty impressive.
Him good, though. I think him got a chance to be the next LeBron. I do. I think him got a chance to be
if he stays healthy, and that's a big if for someone 7'4", and that light in the wind. But your bet on this episode of the Better Better, as a bettor, if you had to handicap his odds to be a Hall of Famer, let's go Hall of Famer, because you went right to the top. You said the best of all time. Let's go Hall of Famer.
What'd you say?
You went right to the top and made
the best of all time. Who's the best of all time?
No, I'm assuming you're saying that he's arguably the best of all time when it's all said and done.
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to put that out there. And the reason why I was going to say LeBron as opposed to saying the GOAT, even though they're synonymous in many circles, was his physical. Don't let Wemby gain some of this weight with these monks out here.
What are you waiting on? Ain't nobody stopping him from eating. He eating good. I'm
but don't let him. But because a lot of LeBron's greatness is because of just the fact that he's such a physical specimen and athleticism for his size. But like Wemby just did a reverse windmill dunk, and the hardest part was for him not to let his feet touch the ground before the ball went in the hoop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, by the time he dunked it, his toes were this close to the ground.
Right.
So his physical attributes are so unmatchable, and the only thing you got on him is him being skinny. Yeah. And so I say LeBron because Jordan, while Jordan obviously was a great basketball player, it wasn't like nobody else was 6'6". It wasn't like anybody else was like, Jordan did it off of skill, not just because he was just physically a monster. LeBron is a freight train of a basketball player, and Wemby is the tallest ever. So I said the next LeBron is the next unstoppable physical force, not necessarily as far as the GOAT. But I think if to put a jacket on, unless he gets major injuries, I can't see how that's not going to happen.
He has a jacket on. The better. If I have to handicap it, and I'm forced to place my money, you got to place your money on the fact that this will be yet another year. I think it's been since 2018 that someone born on American soil won the NBA MVP. You look at SGA in his first two games, while OKC has had not one but two double overtime games, right? The first one against Houston, which was, I thought, a phenomenal game. That's the one I couldn't remember earlier in the show. At this rate, they won't have the legs to play in the playoffs. But SGA had 55 points last night. 55 points and looked phenomenal. Again, I mean, Wemby, SGA, maybe the Greek Freak, but it's almost certain that we'll have another NBA season that has another NBA MVP that follows in the long line of recent NBA MVPs such that they weren't born on American soil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting as I am in the midst of going from grassroots basketball to AAU and seeing all of the emphasis, the money, the resources, the time, energy that we put into basketball here in this country. It's interesting to see how it's sort of slipping away and becoming more. It had already been more global, but the best of the best seem to be coming from places that are not the USA. Seems like it's going to be another year. Now it's early. We're in the first week, but maybe Ant Edwards can be the first one to do it because he's looked good as well. But we shall see. Last American player to win the NBA MVP was James Harden, 2017-2018 season. We in 2025, dog.
I know. And
even hearing that, James Harden,
and I don't think there's an American-born player besides Ant that you could think of, because they're not going to give it to LeBron anymore unless he scores 100 points a game. They just decided he's done. I don't think
Steph Curry was in the talks at some point when he had a late run last year. Like without Steph Curry, Golden State is terrible, and the award is most valuable player.
That said, though, they have to be like a 1 seed for Steph to be considered.
They're 2-0 right now. Golden State looking good.
Oh, well, I mean, in that case, give it to them. But I'm saying we'll see what KD does down there in Houston. It's tough, man. Because right now, if you ask me who's going to be the MVP, I got to put my money on Joker.
Another non-American born player.
Joker. He's the best. We have so many good players in the NBA right now. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if I get kicked out of the ARP club, and I can't play bingo no more or whatever. The talent in the NBA right now is so much better than it was.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
So much better. Not even in comparison.
Don't you do it. Don't do that.
There's so many better players than there were when we grew up. It's not even close.
Just meaning the concentration of better players?
Sheer numbers of better players. I'm not saying that Jordan, Bird, and Magic aren't amongst the best ever, but I'm saying you take Jordan, Bird, and Magic away, Isaiah Thomas, I'm going to keep going until you tell me to stop. So Jordan, Bird, Magic, Isaiah Thomas,
Tim Duncan,
Tim Duncan, Hakeem a lot. Take the center. All those centers are great because those centers are different than they are today. So that level, that kind of basketball players.
So 1 through 4, we're gonna go 1 through 4, and you think that 1 through 4 compare era to era? No comparison.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I wanted to make sure I'm clear of that. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying 1 through 30. There's no comparison between the eras. So what I'm saying is,
no. When I say 1 through 4, I meant position. The point guard.
Oh, well, yeah.
No power forward. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm saying that Jordan revolutionized basketball, right? He the moves that he did, how he played the game, whatever. Every single thing that Michael Jordan can do, there's 25 guys in the NBA that can do every single thing Jordan can do. Maybe not as well, but the dunks, the moves, the shots, all those things, and they do shit that he didn't do because it didn't exist yet.
You know what my argument is going to be? They learned it from watching Jordan, baby.
They did, absolutely, and that's the reason. That's how the world gets better. That's how the world gets better. Is look at track. People learned how to run track better. They learned tricks, and now high school track meets have a whole field of people running 10 seconds. Not heard of before.
Because and in Texas running lower than 10 seconds.
Yeah, getting better. So what I'm saying is Michael Jordan, Dr. J was the first one to go on one side of the basket and come up and do the other. There's people in 5th grade doing that now, right? 3-point shots. Michael Jordan, in his defense, he never shot a 3-pointer until he made it to the NBA because there was no 3-pointers before the NBA when Michael Jordan was in college. There was no such thing as a 3-point line in college, high school, nothing. Now I have a 5th grader that was on my team that went 9 for 10 for 3-point line, right? So evolution. But when it comes to talent and
I think
players
Aaron
and
Gordon
skill
did his
level,
50 points last night was 10 for 11. At one
yeah,
point, he made 8 in a row.
Jordan never could do that, would never try. He would never take 11 threes in a game. He would never consider it. There was 2 or 3 people in the NBA who could even think of taking double-digit threes in our time growing up. No one could shoot like that. Larry Bird is not even in the top 50 of three-point shots made. There's centers that have more three-point shots than Larry fucking Bird.
When it's all said and done, in this episode of the Better Bettors, if you had to bet, because we gonna get old, and the current players are gonna fizzle out too.
Yeah,
They're gonna move over for other players.
mm-hmm.
And I know we all have recency bias, but on that Mount Rushmore, when it's all said and done, 20 years from now, you're telling me that's going to be disproportionately made up of players from this current era, and the 80s, dare I say, are going to be moved aside? That's the bet that you would make?
The problem is this, and we see it in our case. How many people from your generation say that Wilt Chamberlain or
I like that comment right there. Chris said the defensive talent isn't better, but go ahead.
We're going to argue defense too. But some of these guys that are older school basketball players, the Wilt Chamberlains of the world in that era, we don't give them nearly enough credit. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, to say that he's out of the top 3 or 4, it's really blasphemous, but it's easy to say because none of us saw him play.
Right.
But
and we penalize him for being so much more physically dominant compared to his peers. We penalize him
there, and there's less brothers in the league, and there's only 10 teams, and then my man, I mean, really, the best player ever, if you want to just go off of some of the stuff we give Cal, you can't even argue it. Just the best person in basketball history is my man that just died from the Celtics, Bill Russell. He won the championship all but twice. All but 2 years he won the championship. Then he won as a coach. I mean, come on, man. Like, you can't even compare him, but he's so old and he's gone now. So people aren't thinking it. Your kid's never going to name Bill Russell on the top unless he's just trying to win.
That's recency bias.
So the recency bias will always be there. So yes, my point is, by the time our kids were our age and do whatever, the people in the 80s, other than Jordan, Magic, and Bird, are going to be like, but they're going to forget about, I mean, think about how good Charles Barkley was, right? No one's going to care. They already don't care. Nobody cares. Now, in our era, Charles Barkley was a goon. Nobody cares about him today. He won't get named ever in someone's top anything now. But we thought Barkley was the shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I give you that. Barkley didn't have a championship, so that's his biggest knock. Let's go home with this, bro, because I think that was – you teed up a whole different conversation. I don't want to go down that path because we could be there all day. But I have circled it. We're going to come back to that eventually. NFL, just want to at least bring up the fact that the Chargers whooped up on Minnesota last night. Carson Wentz looked pedestrian. He looked hurt. So it looks like J.J. McCarthy is going to be coming back. And Justin Herbert looked pretty good. Not a very exciting game. I want to look at the viewership numbers. They got the whole Amazon Prime thing, so you got to go over the river and through the woods to watch the game anyway. But it was on during a time where I think we're getting really excited about basketball on a day that they had this scandal front and center. So people were more inclined to watch basketball, if nothing else, to hear the development of the story. So I'm assuming the viewership numbers were down, but pretty good game. So we'll see. This weekend's supposed to be a big weekend for NFL in terms of trying to figure out some positioning with respective divisions. College football, though. I talked about Notre Dame beating USC. Cheer for old Notre Dame. And in doing so, put themselves in prime position to go on a run and be talked about, disrespected, called overrated. Get ready for all of that. Notre Dame has put themselves in a position to make a run to be in one of those 12 positions to make it to the college football playoffs. Simple and plain. They've got to still play Pittsburgh. They've got to play Boston College. They got to play Syracuse. But all teams that they will be favored to win. They got to play Stanford, who just had a big win against Florida State. So get ready to be mad. If you're going to be a better, though, I'm telling you, a safe bet is with not one, but 2 of the best running backs in the country. Notre Dame's a pretty safe bet. James Franklin.
I'm going to put that out there and say this. And don't call this insider trading because I know a lot more than the world does about sports. But Notre Dame is going to be in the playoffs. Watch it. They went out. Let me say this. They have to win out.
Got to win out.
They got to win out.
And they got to win out in good fashion because they don't have a chance to come.
Yep, not like a bunch of 1-point games, but get you a couple pumpkin heads in there, and they're going to go. And the narrative is going to be this. You had a brand new quarterback. His first game was basically a bowl game. He's playing against Miami, the only game in town on Big Holiday at night, down in Miami, and he almost pulled it out. First second half, he was two different quarterbacks. Yeah. Then he lost a squeaker to Texas A&M, who hopefully is in the SEC championship game.
Everybody in the world knows that should have been holding on the touchdown call.
They were a call away from winning. And then they went and ran the table after that. And now it's recency. This is how they're blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to say, Notre Dame's in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying.
I like Malcolm's argument. He said, talking about your previous debate, he said you're making the 2025 Camry versus 1972 El Dorado argument. I love that.
Yeah, but if you ask the person who got the
character, man, you discounted the character, baby. That El Dorado got character.
If you ask somebody who got their license in 2024, which is a better car,
they gonna go with it.
El Dorado. Back when my daddy was born, I don't really know about El Dorado.
Fair point. College football, man. Let's talk on it real quick, and we're gonna get out of here. James Franklin was fired, and some people from Penn State say finally. If you look at his record over his tenure there, I think he was there 10 years. You look at his record, his overall record wasn't bad, but then you look at his record in big games versus ranked opponents, it was horrible. It was abysmal. Did we see a reckoning? Like, did Penn State make a decision? Because James Franklin had all of the makings in terms of developing great young men and representing the university and, saying the right things publicly. Penn State, and I would argue that James Franklin made them relevant again, right? On the heels of the scandal, which we won't go into. They had the interim coach, what's the guy named? Bill, whatever.
You can't argue it. He made them relevant again.
He made them relevant again.
No one can argue that.
But what Penn State said, and the athletic director took full ownership of it, is relevant is not enough. The Penn State, I guess internally they set a standard, but externally, globally, in this new world of NIL, where kids are making $3 million, some of them, a year, did he also set a new standard, or Penn State rather, the athletic director set a new standard in terms of what's enough? Because yes, he made them relevant. They were going to be competitive in all of those games. It was going to come down to a possession here or there. But Penn State sort of said, yo, that's not enough. Is that the new standard in this new NIL world? Is that in order to bet on a coach, to double down, right? Chips in the middle of the table. Do you have to do the unthinkable? Because the man was one win away from a championship last year. Championship
appearance.
Yeah. He lost in the semis to Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. So that's what, 5 games removed from that? What was Penn State saying?
Can't lose to Northwestern at the crib. Can't lose Northwestern at the crib. I call my Northwestern fan dads and I'm like, are you offended that you beat the team by 1 point and they said enough is enough? I give you $50 million to go away. That's so insulting to Northwestern, in my opinion. At that point, like damn, it's not like he lost to a D3 team. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lost to a Power 5 team that's 5-2. But I think at the end of the day, it's too bad. I mean, he's going to be okay. But I think we're in this world, this pay me now world. But that's why this one.
And then you think, and I don't want to make it about race. Sorry to interrupt, but
he's white.
Billy Napier still had his job. They just fired him at UF. They just fired him.
I think it's
look at Billy Napier's record at UF, pound for pound, compared to James Franklin at Penn State. And I'll go one further. Mike Norvell, who just lost an unthinkable 3 in a row, one of which to Stanford, who is abysmally bad. Mike Norvell got his job still.
He got a vote of confidence. They came out and said, we're not going to fire him.
And I don't want to make it about black and white, but damn it.
Nobody knows that James Franklin is black with you. Nobody knows. Everyone.
James Franklin knows he's black. He talked about being the first black coach to win a national championship with him and Mark.
When they were going against there, they're like, black coach. And they said, who's the other black coach? I thought they were trying to name assistant coaches. I didn't know James Franklin was back into the playoffs last year.
Hey,
Neither
you know
did you.
what? Hey, you're gonna get a call from Team Light Skin after this, bro. Don't you do James Franklin like
They
that?
didn't
You're gonna
pass
lose
him
your
with us.
card. You're gonna lose your card.
The one drop rule is in effect, but I had no idea he was black. None. Right.
But think about that. Mike
See?
Norvell still got his job, Doug. Florida State, after they won that first game, was on a high, transcendent high. He messed up the money by losing to the University of Virginia. He had what was going to be a game day primetime slot against Miami, Florida State, Miami, a 7:30 p.m. game. They had already made the game a night game before he went and lost on a Friday night. No, his wasn't Friday. I'm sorry. Miami lost was Friday. But, what are we doing? Mike Norvell has a job and James Franklin doesn't?
James Franklin about to get hired, though. Somebody's going to hire his ass and pay him. It don't make a difference. He's going to get paid. If you just like, I mean, look at what's his man name at Clemson?
Dabo.
They're trash
on his own terms. Yeah,
they're trash. They're not going to do that to him. So I'm not going to go racial on that. I'm just going to go stupid on that. They were going to fire Ron Day, and he won the national championship. They were going to fire him last year, and he won the same year they were going to fire him. He won.
They were definitely going to fire him. They were
going to fire this man. He had to win the championship to keep his job, and it's just probably some people are like, damn it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make people happy, man. Fans suck. The fans are the downfall of everything. But as long as you keep buying tickets, people are going to keep going and buying liquor now. Now, you guys have gotten us getting – the NIL has got us buying liquor at games, so the fans are only going to get worse. It's trash.
Yeah. Let's go home with this, man. This is our Ball Hawk Spotlight moment, right? On the heels of us talking about these coaches. Let's look at a man by the name of Kurt Cignetti, who in 2019 was the head coach of James Madison. He made $425,000. 2020, James Madison, $437,750. 2021 at James Madison, $459,638. 2022, he made $500,000. 2023, he made $677,000. All good money. He gets to Indiana in 2024, takes his team on a magical run with a lot of transfer players, loses to Notre Dame in the opening round of the college football playoffs, but makes $4.25 million in that 1 year. Gets to the point where he is 6-0 this year. Has a major Big Ten win against Oregon. And gets newly negotiated terms. This man is making $8.3 million this year. Going to be making $11 million next year. And an increase of an increase is so crazy that I messed up the number. 1,612% increase in his salary from 2019 to 2025.
I bet
God bless America.
He got to change his phone number, boy. All the people, all them cousins that need a little bread. You know what though? He's going to ruin football for new coaches, like coaching jobs.
Everyone's going to expect that be.
This man went to Indiana, who's a basketball school. They don't claim football one bit. Definitely don't have the NIL money of Ohio State. He's lost 2 games since being hired. One to Ohio State, who won the national championship, and the other to Notre Dame, who lost the national championship. His 2 losses.
Those are his 2 losses.
It's 2 losses. He beat Oregon, who's got the a New York Yankees payroll, right?
Yep.
Unlimited payroll. They got $700,000 running backs that are asking to be redshirted to sit on the bench, do whatever. Beat them in Oregon. This dude has done the most phenomenal job that you could ever do with the program in 2 years. And talk shit when he gets out there. He got that Baker Mayfield to him. I fuck with Cignetti. I like him, man.
And Indiana, hats off to Indiana for being smart enough, because now they're the number 2 team in the country, being smart enough to renegotiate that deals on the heel of James Franklin being fired. You talk about a better better. University of Indiana made sure that their bet was well known, and they bet on their guy and paid him handsomely to support that bet.
So don't you dare take a job tomorrow and talk about I can't win. Give me 3 years. You better say you better pack a lunch.
Man, it's making guys like, I wasn't gonna say his name because personally I like him, but I'm gonna say his name. It's making guys like Brian Kelly look really bad. Really, really bad.
You went down to the SEC with all the talent. You faked an accent. You did all the stuff, and you can't win all these games.
And you cannot win. And that was your sole reason you wanted to go coach better talent to win the big games. Chutch. With that, man, it's been a great week. We appreciate everybody tuning in. I know that this story is going to continue to grow in terms of this FBI scandal. But we'll stay tuned. The latest, right? Because literally it's going to continue to grow. The latest is it has been reported that somehow, some way, the big ticket, Kevin Garnett, was involved in one of these high-stake poker games. So the name, when I tell you the name, like the joke,
find out the big ticket finds out that you cheated, he might whoop your ass.
Yeah,
you better be careful.
Look, the running joke that I love Gilbert Arenas, but he's been telling this joke that he's a snitch. Once you start talking about crime families, that joke ain't funny no more. Snitching and all that ain't funny no more, and that's where we are.
6ix9ine made snitching cool, so now everybody think it's cool.
It's cool to snitch now. All right. But this has been our episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. It has gone by the title of the Better Bettors. Like we ask you every week, we ask you humbly, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone that you know, even as you look on or watch it after the taping. You can do all of those things. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the podcast. It's been a great show. The Ball Hog Sports Talk is where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it one way and one way only. That's rough, rugged, and raw. Put this in somebody else's hand. Give them a gift, man, because this has been some good content. It's been riveting. It's been informative. It has been the Ball Hog Sports Talk. So no further ado, we're going to get out of it for the weekend, man. Y'all stay blessed, stay encouraged, enjoy all the sports this weekend. There's some good stuff coming on, so make sure that you stay tuned. We'll see you guys very soon at the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We is out. Peace.